right up against the drum.
Yeah, I was on
Drum mic. Yeah. Don't want that.
Definitely don't want that. Did it work?
He already said it worked.
I don't know why. Oh, well, now you're helping him out.
Oh, well, he already said it worked. It's not my fault you're a deaf old man.
Yeah, well, he fucking sucks. Wish we had a better producer. Well, what do you mean it's going? You're supposed to do the fucking intro. No, it wasn't a 20-second intro. It was horrible. How do we sound? Because we had to go through this every single time.
Like hot garbage,
No,
as
we don't.
usual.
No, we don't. We sound fine.
I'm more talking about the quality of the voice and not necessarily the quality of the recording.
Quality
I mean,
of the
I
voice
wouldn't
is
say
fine.
any of us have a naturally sexy voice.
That is very true.
So
Actually,
I have been described as
do.
true.
I do. But Taylor told me not to use my sexy voice a long time ago.
it's uncomfortable on the ears.
It's uncomfortable to you because it's so sexy. Yeah, just keep the dick in front of your face. You are worse than Taylor. Taylor used to be, he always would be. But now you're like, what do we got going on?
Eventually, you morph into a
Welcome wherever
professional.
you're at,
Come on.
whatever time of day. Welcome to our little podcast. You're already adjusting it.
I need you to calm down.
We need to
I
hear
need you
you.
to back off.
We need to hear you. It's not.
I don't want to. I didn't come here to get bullied so early in the morning.
Yeah.
I can't defend
Well,
myself.
this
Have
is
you even had
Taylor's
your
fault.
coffee yet? My fault.
You're very much a prima donna.
I like to do the things that require me to leave the house
Dude.
in the mornings.
You do.
That way I can enjoy the afternoon and the evening.
Yeah. What are you doing in the afternoon?
Hanging out, playing video games, doing
Doing
the stuff that keeps me at home that I can only do at home.
But you only do that at home. I mean, that's all you do, right? What else do you do?
I mean, since Robin got pregnant, I've been doing a hell of a lot more around the house.
God.
I mean, I've been helping to finish the basement. I did a little bit of mudding and taping, put up a ton of drywall. Been doing the laundry a lot. Been doing dishes more often.
Wow.
Cleaning the house.
Yeah.
You know, she can't exactly bend over and pick stuff up off the floor anymore.
Why is she getting fat?
She's getting bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
So all the tasks that require, mobility have kind of fallen to me since, unlike your children who seem to be at least like
What are you
partially
doing?
proactive.
Are you moving lights around?
I can't even get my kids out of the fucking bed half time.
What?
Yeah. One of them listens to music all day and the other one plays video games all day.
And just lays in bed.
Yeah.
Sounds like a dream.
It's a dream of this society that we got going on. Wow. Nikki lays in bed sometimes. I mean, before he goes to bed. So about like an hour before he goes to bed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Zach's never in bed. He's always out doing something. Why am I getting blown up on the fucking texts?
I don't know. Got some big news coming down the pipe?
Oh, I'm just seeing if they attacked yet.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a shit show.
Why? What
Why?
is everybody's feelings on this?
I'm 26. Am I still,
Eligible for the
age?
draft? Yes, you are. It's like your final age or your final.
That's
year.
exciting.
Yeah?
Yeah. Why would you be worried about that?
Yeah, if we don't have a draft.
I know we don't have a draft, but
And no one gives a fuck about
what if we
Ukraine.
do start having a draft? And
I mean-
remember the draft for Vietnam War. I don't remember it, but I did look it up, and I would have been like 75th called out to go fight another one to like 199.
Like there'd be number 1 and then you'd be 75. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
So there'd be 74 people before you.
exactly.
They want to get rid of him quick. What the fuck? Why do you? All right. You would think you'd be a little further. You are Italian though, so
That's true.
And I just don't qualify for the draft.
well, it's because you're old.
Well, and because I've got medical issues.
Oh, we got a Trump Jr. here. Is it the
No,
asthma?
no bone spurs. No.
Is it the asthma?
Yeah, mainly.
Yeah.
But my eyes are getting worse.
They have glasses.
over time and-
I wore glasses in the military.
Yeah.
Yeah, like ugly. You're never getting laid glasses.
You figured if they wanted you to shoot somebody, they'd like you to be able to see them.
But this is not the case, Taylor. That's why
With how the U.S. military's been for the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
being able to see who you're shooting at might not actually matter anymore.
Those
You fly a
glasses they
drone?
give you are mighty fine. I was a fairly good shot in the military, so
Yeah.
yeah, and I have horrible eyes. I can't see shit. Why is this happening? Why is Russia invading? Do we know?
Because they haven't gotten their dick wet in a while.
No, it has not.
They haven't totally fucked another country in a long time, and that's exactly what this is.
So
They're too fucking bored with the whole let's grab our border fence, on the fucking coast of, buttfuck old Soviet wherever. Where is it, like Moldova and Georgia and shit? They're picking up their goddamn border fences and moving them miles into the other country and saying, "Oh no, it's always been there."
yeah.
They're getting bored with the bullshit. They want to just fucking bring back the Soviet Union because in their leaders' eyes, the collapse of the Soviet Union was like Russia's fall from grace, and they haven't worked their way back up yet.
So in Crimea, when they took it over in 2014, that was the end of it. They were fine. They wanted Crimea back.
Yeah.
But what happened was the Ukrainians shut the water off to them. So I'm guessing that's part of it. That whole fucking
And electricity.
the whole fucking land has become arid. So they probably just want water.
Have you
Turn the canal
seen
back on?
Have you seen how fucking close mainland Russia is to Crimea? There's like a little few mile stretch of water in between the edge of Crimea and actual fucking Russia.
Right.
So I'm sure any issues that the Ukrainians may have forced upon Crimea after it was stolen by Russia
Right.
were solved, in 2015. Water, electricity.
No, it's horrible.
It's not going to
just-
cost Russia much to just put some underwater pipe.
So they tried drilling wells, and they've been piping or they've been trucking in water this whole 7 years, 8 years now, and I think they're just done with it. They want them to open back up the canal.
Well, you would think
Open up the back fucking
Russia,
canal, and you won't get taken over.
Russia with their high technologically advanced society they've got going on,
Dude, it's like
burning vodka for fuel.
It's like
They'd
1970s.
fucking build a desalinization plant or something right there. I mean, that would solve every fucking problem they've got with water.
No, there's what? Which camera?
Oh my god.
Did you start it back?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Jesus Christ! So we just had a little interruption because our producer's eyes are faulty.
So I'm going to name my first kid as Moldova. That's unisex, isn't it?
I don't know. I wanted to name Zach his middle name almost
Astrid.
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 Yeah. Astrid would have been a good middle name.
Astrid?
Yeah, Astrid. Why not?
No, almost.
What do you have against Astrid?
It's Mandarin for wild man, and
Yeah.
my wife did not want that. She told me to go fuck right off.
Yeah.
I think I do have a sexy voice. I'm going to start doing my "Hey baby" voice. We had this discussion at the
It's not,
beginning.
it's
at the
not,
beginning
it's
of
not
this.
sexy. It's just different.
It's not
You,
different.
dude.
Yeah, it says you. And now
I'm pitching a pants tent the size of
No, I mean, like,
Moldova.
Moldova.
what do you think is actually going to happen? Like, honestly, from your perspective, based on exactly what you know, what do you think is going to happen in Eastern Europe between Ukraine, Russia, NATO, everybody? What do you think will be the end result here?
Then when? Like in what time
Like-
frame?
Any time frame, like within the next 5 years.
Who's a big ally of Russia? China?
No, they're not allies.
Anyone?
They're like cool adversaries where they support each other when it's advantageous. But Russia is not a economic superpower like the United States is, like most of Europe is, and like China is. China is an economic superpower based on what they produce and how much of it they produce.
So who would
Russia
band
doesn't
together
have
with Russia?
anything besides fucking oil and gas extraction. That is literally their entire economy. They're not a superpower. They just have a lot of nuclear weapons. That's it. There's nothing fucking special about Russia
Military
on the world stage.
It's funny because we're always trying to make a villain and stuff like that. Like Russia and China are nothing compared to our military. So they're not even militarily superpowers. We could wipe the fucking floor with them too. So
But yeah, but that is literally only because for the last several decades we've been spending more money on our military budget than like the next 10 countries beneath us combined.
25 countries.
That's the only reason why, because we've been neglecting our infrastructure and the rest of our fucking society so we can have the biggest guns and blow the most shit up.
That's not why our infrastructure is fucking going to shit and stuff like that. It's because we're off the gold standard. We're devaluing the money. We're putting an extra tax on people. That's why our infrastructure is going to shit. We're still spending the same amount of money on the military that we always have. It's just we're devaluing our currency now, and we have been forever to try to compete with these other countries because we went off the gold standard, right?
Yeah, like 10 years ago, right?
Well, we went off the gold standard?
Yeah.
No, it was like 1971 or 72. They took us off the gold standard.
You're talking about being our money backed by gold, right?
Yeah, that's why every year.
It's more recent.
No, money's always been worthless.
Well,
You're fucking making something out of a tree.
It wasn't
or some plant that produces paper. That's not fucking worth anything.
It was when it was on the gold standard. It was worth $35 or $36 an ounce or something like that. So it had value when because you could exchange it for something of value that
I think,
a rock.
To be fair, they used to print on dollars that you could exchange $1 bills for their equivalent in silver.
Silver or gold.
I don't think it was ever gold.
Yeah, it was gold.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like.
Did they? Because I know they actually printed on the dollar bills, the old dollar bills that you could exchange.
A million years ago.
Yeah, but did they ever do that for gold? Because I'm guessing not.
No.
So why is it called the gold standard?
Because you could only spend to the amount of gold you had.
I understand that concept.
So every ounce of gold was worth $35. So if you had a set amount of money that you could distribute into the system, then they took us off the gold standard so they could start giving out fake money that wasn't there. As long as you had something tangible.
To be fair, I don't think the government actually gave out the fake money.
What do you mean?
Well, because the government usually doesn't give you anything, especially not for free. So they distributed the fake money to the people who they thought would benefit the most off of it, the banks.
Well, the banks, obviously.
The investment companies and stuff like that. But it's not like they just distributed money to the populace at large.
Well, they put it into the system.
But we've seen what that gets us.
Before trickle down,
a few people fucking hoarding all of it.
Well,
the
that's
banks
now.
Investing and screwing people over.
Right. Before trickle down in economics, it was distributed more evenly in our society.
We can take
I don't know. I somehow doubt that, but I'll take your word
the game's
for
always
it.
been fucking rigged, but not to this extent where you get nothing. Inflation's through the fucking roof now. It's really interesting, and that's because we put so much money or currency into the system, cash, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Money and currency are totally different things. But yeah, anyways, it doesn't. What do I think is going to happen in the next 5 years? I think they're going to take over. I don't think they're going to cave and let them have their water, and I don't know what happens because if this is a point in case for Taiwan. This is why
China just came out today and said that every single country is entitled to sovereignty, and that includes Ukraine. They said that today. I read it on Reddit fucking this morning.
Right, well, that doesn't matter.
Interesting.
So that seems like a really weird thing to say, but I think the reason they're saying it is because they're worried about what kind of precedent this is going to set.
Who?
China. Because Russia's pushing the envelope. I mean, Russia is about to literally, we're not talking about the kind of weird shadow invasion that they did of Crimea. We're not really talking about the kind of annexation, kind of supporting separatists sent from their own country into eastern Ukraine. We're talking about literally them with 200,000 troops on their border about to fucking walk into Ukraine.
Okay.
That's different from what's been going on in the past in this situation, at least in my opinion.
So let me ask you this question. Is the United States the only one that can go and take over other countries?
no. I mean,
Why should
like
we be?
on
We
a
just do it the best.
physical level? No. Countries have been taking over other countries
I
since
know,
the United States
but it
was
seems like
formed.
we're very much against this when we went and took over 2 countries just not that long ago. We took over 2 countries at once.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a double standard, absolutely. But
Or
I
the
didn't.
countries.
I didn't agree with it when the United States did it either.
No, neither did I.
Cuba and Philippines or what?
No, well,
I mean,
we're going back in
Iraq,
time.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan and Iraq.
We didn't really take them over.
We absolutely
I
did.
agree that
We got
didn't-
obliterated there.
Yeah, I was gonna say we
Hold
didn't
on.
take them over in the sense that we actually like started governing them ourselves.
We did. We
took them over in the sense that we controlled certain small areas of the country, but most of the country, which is tribal and remote,
What are we
was
talking
not
about? Are you-
controlled.
Are you
by
talking about
us.
Afghanistan?
Yeah.
Well, that would be more the case. But in Iraq, we definitely took over the country, and we definitely installed a fake government. And in Afghanistan, we also installed a fake government that they fucking told us to go fuck off. Right?
Oh, I mean,
This is true. in
how much
both.
of a fake government could we have installed if it immediately collapsed as soon as we left? I mean, that doesn't even sound like installing a fake government. That just sounds like a bunch of incompetent assholes.
Well, we just did a bad job. But
Well,
let's go back-
did we do the bad job, or did the people that decided to take the positions of power just not have a spine?
No.
Because as soon as we left, they fucked right off.
Here's this.
They didn't even stay around to govern.
Taylor, we have a problem with not understanding cultures when we go in there, and we think if we bring democracy to them, and so we can have a foothold in the country with our companies,
Well, like
that
I
it's going
said-
to take. But we don't understand. They didn't take into account the Serbs and the Shiites hating, or Serbs. What is that? The Kurds. The Kurds and the Shiites hating each other so much, and all this other bullshit. If we think we install a government, everything's going to be fine. But next thing you know, there's genocide happening in the fucking streets because we didn't plan it out properly. We didn't do a good enough job. But I'm just saying,
That's religion for you.
that's fine. But I'm just
I
saying.
mean, no, seriously.
I know.
The Middle East is all about
extremism.
like imagine if the Catholics, the Protestants, and the non-denominational and the evangelicals
Why do
in
we
the
blame it
United
on religion?
States.
Why do we blame it on religion?
Imagine if all
not.
4 of those parts of Christianity were fucking slaughtering each other in the streets.
I know, but this.
I mean, that's exactly what was going on over there. People fucking killing each other because they believe in the same God,
killing me today.
but slightly different.
You're- no,
It's
I know.
fucking insane.
I know, you're killing me.
They're all Muslims, and they're slaughtering each other like that.
It's because we're shitty animals.
No,
It
but
hasn't-
they've been killing
nothing-
each other like that for hundreds and thousands of years.
Religious people are
Just
the ones
like
with
the
morals.
Christians and
I
the
know,
Muslims
I know.
were
So
killing
we
each other
can't-
for
we can't-
centuries.
I know we can't distinguish between it's a bunch of shitty animals killing each other. all over
Religion
the
is
place.
just the worst.
It's justification for going out. My
And
religion's
doing- and
better than
doing
your
horrible
Yes,
things.
it's just justification for wanting to go out and do bad stuff to each other. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
What we were doing before religion, it's not
anyways-
like we weren't killing each other.
Well, but we've been killing each other
Oh, I
since
think-
the dawn of time.
Religion is just a big catalyst of
Yeah. It was a dr-
the murders.
It was interesting. I watched a documentary of, it was down, I want to say, indigenous tribe down in South America. And they were so flush with everything. They didn't need anything. They weren't fighting over food. They weren't fighting over housing or anything. So they're just flush with everything because this part of, I want to say South America, but I'm probably wrong, had everything they could possibly ever want. They didn't need anything. So what did they fight over? Pussy. They fought over pussy.
Women are a commodity. I mean, at
It's
that
just
point,
absolutely fucking ridiculous. They had nothing to fight over, so they fought over pussy. Even though there was enough pussy for everybody, they still fucking fought. It's just men are shitty animals. Humans are just shitty animals. So you can say religion, you can say whatever. It's just we suck. We haven't figured out a way to get along with each other ever. And I just don't understand that.
That's because we hate each other for arbitrary things.
We hate anything. Yeah, we hate anything that we feel uncomfortable with. So it's like today, my dog. So I have a dog in the house, the one that's on the little picture, Coda. if anybody touches that fucking dog or says anything mean to him, I'll slap the fuck out of him. That's my dog. He comes up and sits next to me. He should know that. Like, if they come up and even try to pet him, I'll slap their fucking hands away. It's my dog, right? I'm not that bad, but if they try to do anything mean to him, like the producer tries to do anything mean to him, I will fucking, hey, knock that shit off. But he gets off the couch, he hears a loud noise, and he fucking jerks. You have nothing to be afraid of. Ain't nothing. So it's this our culture is afraid of fucking everything, especially in America. We're afraid of fucking everything. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So if we're afraid of something, we go and try to kill it. If something's there and you have it, I want it. It's just the weirdest fucking thing. So we kill each other over this stupid shit.
Anyways,
so
I think there's 3 scenarios that are gonna.
Hold on, I asked you a question.
What was the question?
The question was, why is America the only one that's allowed to go and take over other countries? Did we?
I mean, I don't think it's. I think it's the right answer in context, but I don't think it's the morally right answer. And I think it's just that America's got the biggest stick.
You cool with America being able? Nobody asked you this question though. Like, well, if America does it, why can't everybody do it? Because we're the greatest in the world. What do you think,
we're
Andrew?
a superpower we're a third world country with a superpower, right? Best military in the world.
Are we a third world country?
I think it's a little different though, because Russia is invading countries that are immediately bordering it in order to expand its territory and its influence.
Oh, motherfucker.
That would be like the United States invading
Iraq,
Cuba or Mexico. I mean, it looks worse when you're invading clearly and obviously to expand your land.
Okay. So
do you think the United States had the goal of expanding its land when it went into?
But what you also said was power and influence, and obviously we were over there trying to take whoever. You can say anything about the military and all that, but who owns the energy in the world is the most powerful country in the world. It is what it is, and we were over trying to take over that region basically by having a footprint in there in Iraq. Iran hates us. Saudi Arabia is our bitch. So if we hit Iraq, all of a sudden we have power over the energy produced in the world. You don't think we were trying to expand our power and our influence in that area?
I do, but
those were the 2 things you said.
Yes, no, I'm not disagreeing with that statement. The fact of the matter is if we want oil and natural gas and stuff like that, do you know how big the United States is in comparison to Iraq, Afghanistan, any fucking country in the Middle East? We've got more oil underneath our country, safe and sound, where we can get to it without starting a fucking war. So I mean, I just don't understand why we need to go elsewhere for it when we've got it right here.
So,
we know we've got it here.
You can think
so Saudi Arabia does have the biggest reserves in the world underneath it. Iraq has a big reserve underneath it
of crude.
Not we have a big reserve, but we're not on the size of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia does have the most reserves underneath their soil.
Doubtful. It's doubtful.
Oh, I mean, I'm guessing
with the sheer scale of the United States landmass alone, like not even including fucking Alaska.
Right.
There's no possible way that spread out. They may have the most concentrated reserves underneath them, but the United States is just too big to not have.
I'm just telling you what they say, what the scientists say. I'm just telling you what the scientists say. Underneath Saudi Arabia is the most oil in the fucking world. That's just what they say. You can look it up. I would guess that Russia would be up there as well because of their land mass. We're taking a short break for Taylor to look this up, and it's getting really fucking hot in here.
It's nice. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you like it? Okay, we'll keep this in here for a little bit longer.
Sauna.
Maybe I'm getting dizzy.
Venezuela has the most oil.
Second most.
Under their land.
So who's second most?
The most.
I know, but who's second most?
Top 10 countries with Saudi Arabia is next.
Okay, so hold on. So when they try to privatize their own oil,
Canada's after that.
With all this shale, which is bullshit.
Then Iran, then Iraq.
America paid not to
Russia
be on that list,
is 6.
Where are we?
Kuwait is 7th. The UAE is 8th.
God damn it.
The United States is 9th.
Okay. So it was interesting when Venezuela decided that they were going to kick out all the American companies, all the Western companies, and take back their oil and privatize it. What do? We crashed their fucking economy. We did, and just turned it into a third world shithole when it was a thriving place. So,
I mean, to be fair, didn't we originally work with them by sending American oil companies down there?
like we always do.
And then they decided to completely push all those oil companies that they had contracts with out and tried to steal all their assets they had down there.
Okay, so they tried doing the same thing that Iran did.
I mean,
And we had the same fucking conflict.
Is
with
it
them.
really that surprising that the United States chose to fuck with them after doing that?
Okay.
I mean, I can understand why it's still wrong.
So,
but at the same time,
no, you can't, Taylor. You're defending American companies for going down, raping another country, paying them pennies on the dollar to get their stuff, and when they want to go, hey, this is our stuff. We want to get paid fairly or get the fuck out.
They didn't have to agree to it in the first place. Were they ignorant?
They always are.
They just didn't have all the
we
information.
Go back in time. Yes, we go back in time, and we've been giving loans to poor countries forever, making them indentured servants to America. It's just been the way it has been.
Weird. It sounds exactly like what China's doing to us.
Oh God, how is China doing that to us?
Because China's been buying our debt for decades.
Okay, so again,
I mean, granted, Japan owns
Japan's
more of our
one.
debt than China,
but it's insignificant.
It's
insignificant. If you look at it, who is the largest debtor to America's largest debtor?
I mean,
North Korea.
No.
You mean who owns the United States the most money, or who the United States owns the most?
Exactly.
China.
I mean, I would say China.
No. It's you and me.
Well, I mean,
Trick question.
obviously,
It's not a trick
besides the American people, but
So-
they're never going to see any.
So
fucking
Japan is
benefit
number
from
one
that.
on the. I know, but you're fucking doing this stupid shit. It's just an insignificant amount of money that we owe China. Japan owns more of our debt than China does, and then those all fail in comparison to how much the government owes us.
Yep. U.S. public owns over 22 trillion of the national
It's
debt.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Why don't we just go ahead and
Call back
let's
the loans?
forgive the government for
Why would you do that?
those debts?
All these people that have bought bonds and stuff from them, all of a sudden, when you forgive that debt, then the money becomes worthless. All of a sudden, you take that fucking dollar bill you have in your pocket and just go burn it because all confidence is gone.
They
Then,
return to Venezuela, so they have stacks of money that they just use as bricks, right?
yeah, you can.
Why we just need to start from scratch.
Oh, God.
We need a big fucking meteor or a gamma ray burst or a really big solar flare to
I'm
just
here for
cook
the solar
half of
flare.
us.
Half of us.
Yeah,
Which half?
Whatever, half.
California.
You're having two kids. You want your two babies?
I mean,
to-
maybe we can get a fucking infinity gauntlet and just snap half away. I mean,
I don't like those odds.
All I'm saying is there's too many fucking people.
We've gone down this road. There isn't.
There is.
isn't. We can take care of everybody on the earth.
We can.
We choose
but
not
we are
to.
never going to. So there needs to be less of us.
Which we're
Seriously.
kind of on the
Okay,
downward
so
slope now
Seriously,
anyways, aren't we?
meteor impact.
okay, so-
it'd be great,
Okay, Taylor.
and people would
so
survive.
So you start picking the people that you want to
No,
die.
there's no picking.
Yeah, you need to.
No, you don't.
Yeah, because if we're gonna,
If you want to build some sort of weird dystopia, you pick people.
so we're gonna end up with the same shit we have now.
Let's have a lottery system.
Ooh, I
Yeah,
like it.
so-
Like
yeah,
what? What do you think?
fair. Something random.
I don't want that.
Well,
Ones and twos. If you pick the one, then you're toast.
Okay.
They might, might get like 75% of the population. That'd be pretty.
We need to pick who we don't want anymore.
no.
I want a matriarch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would work great in comparison to what we have now. This man, testosterone filled fucking gonna build and do everything thing needs to go fuck right off. No.
No. We need an AI.
We went
need
down the AI
we need
to
an artificial intelligence
That can choose who's gonna live or die.
that is benevolent, that can solve all the
Ooh, it's getting warm.
problems and educate the people on how to solve those problems before they come up.
Let's make Terminators. Ones that can decide whether or not it's going to kill you. Like
I'm not talking
brainwaves
about
to
like
see
a
if you're moral.
physical AI entity
Hey, Zach, you want to open up that
that's,
door?
roaming the streets and policing everything. I'm talking about like you make the president of the world an AI.
So was
Like you program it, you get it going, and once it's learned enough about humanity to know how to solve the issues without having to resort to mass genocide, then you just let it do its thing.
So one
I'm
thing
just here for the mass genocide, though. I feel like we have it learn who wants to live or die. Then you go take a psychology test, and
who's
you walk
writing
into a room 1 or 2, and room 1 has like the lethal injection.
Yeah, but you're talking about judging people based on a small window of their lives. How do you know the person who says, "Okay, I'm willing to die," isn't just having a bad week? I mean, that person years later could go on to be the next Albert Einstein, but you just happened to catch them in this period of their life.
You just shot into a sock. Any one of them could have been the next Albert Einstein. Any one of them could have cured cancer, but now they're sitting in your laundry basket, getting all crusty.
Well, but if we start thinking about that, everything just collapses. I mean, come on.
Fair.
I'm just thinking about all the
Maybe they
socks
should-
underneath my
maybe
boys'
that's
bed.
the best argument ever for making like legalized prostitution.
Yeah.
Because then at least there's a chance. At least they've got a small chance.
I like the whole situation in that Ethan Hawke movie, Gattaca, where you get to the point where we can pick and choose what sort of traits our children are going to have, and we get to have them bred a certain
They're
way.
already doing that.
With I imagine you talk to your daughter a whole lot about that kind of
Yeah, but it's not happening in the
CRISPR and
United
shit.
States. Yeah, it's not happening in the United States. It's already happening.
Yeah, because it's kind of illegal.
this dumb thing called ethics over here. People don't even want to
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with ethics. It has more to do with religion and stuff like that.
religious ethics is what they want to call
Yeah.
their ethical.
No, why do you keep bringing ethics into it? Is it really ethical to not want to further your own species? I don't understand that.
Amanda and I have talked about it. We're going to abort our first child no matter what. Just
Yeah.
out of
Shoot,
principle.
what? Just to show them who's boss?
Just because we can.
Have you ever met anybody who has had an abortion?
Are you going to say like they're dead inside or something?
I'm going to say that it fucks up the woman badly for a while. I'm sure there's women out there that have had abortions and they're fine mentally afterwards, but everyone I've ever met that's had an abortion, it just fucking mentally fucks with them.
Well, then it sounds like they shouldn't have had an abortion. It sounds like they made a snap decision that wasn't the right one.
No, but I don't think anybody makes a snap decision. You have to think through it before you go down and decide to get vacuumed out.
Why?
In my experience,
Women menstruate like what? Once a month? It's not like the opportunity to get pregnant again isn't going to come up literally immediately.
I know, but you can.
I mean, I don't understand the
This is a
significance
man
of it.
again. This is a man talking about how a woman feels inside. So
No, I'm not even talking about the feeling. I'm just saying, maybe if we had children, maybe if women menstruated once every 10 years, it would be a huge thing. But it's like it's no different.
We've gone off the rails.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's not a life.
Yeah. What if you ejaculated once every 10 years?
I mean, think about it. If you have an abortion within like what, a few weeks of getting pregnant,
Right.
you're literally just expelling a mass of dividing cells. I mean, at that point, there's nothing that could even fucking be considered a baby, much less an infant or a
right.
fetus.
This might be something that you need to go homework. You go home and talk to your wife about this and ask her, well, how would you feel? I think
We've already talked about this.
No, I'm
though.
not talking about having an abortion. Like if she did have an abortion, it's interesting. As soon as I'm guessing, because I don't know, I'm guessing as soon as you get pregnant, your body starts preparing itself to have the child, meaning that in 9 months it's going to prepare itself. So your hormone levels change.
Well, yeah,
Your body
obviously.
obviously changes. Your emotions change. Everything changes about you. So everybody that I've ever met that has had an abortion, who's thought through it and went and had an abortion, it leaves an emptiness inside them, a hole inside them.
Because it's literally
Sounds like
Because it's literally being vacuumed out of them.
Sounds like it's a hormone imbalance.
It could be. Who knows? But hormone imbalances affect your brain and can change your brain, right? It changes your brain chemistry. So I don't know, man. Whatever.
Maybe it's just a case of mind over matter.
When we abort our sperm into a sock, as Andrew has said, there is no emotion tied to
I
that.
do feel pretty depressed.
Do you feel bad about it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you feel like you've done something wrong
for about 5 minutes, and then I go
only because of the cleanup.
video games.
Now this fucker's gonna turn hard, and I don't know if it's coming out, if it's gonna scratch my foot next time I put the sock on. That's all he's worried about.
I mean, it seems like the reaction would be every time the woman has her period, then, right? Because technically, that is an egg that could have turned into a child that's being evacuated from their body. So why isn't that kind of the same situation?
Your body.
So does your wife emotionally change when she's on her reg?
I mean, I would assume that all women do.
Well, then your point is made. They do change.
So what you're saying is the whole feelings of guilt or emptiness inside is all hormone driven.
Oh, it could be. It could be tenfold. I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't know. But yeah,
I can speak for all women though, because I feel like we're all pretty well versed in how a woman works.
Exactly. I'm just saying. Everybody I've met, there's a lot of things that I just associate. So I'm sorry for that. Like, I'm just going to throw this out here. Everybody that I know that is super promiscuous or is gay has always had a bad sexual experience when they're very young. Every single one I've ever met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by bad sexual experience, you mean like a really handsy uncle?
They've been raped or something bad has happened to them as a child, and it has changed them for fucking ever. And that's every single gay person I've ever met. And granted, every single gay person I've ever met is like 7 or 8
years old.
No, that's how many people.
Oh,
I know that are like grown fucking people who are.
I mean, I knew
never left a lifestyle.
Gay people in high school and stuff, and I don't recall any of them having
were you close
made statements that would indicate that they were abused as young children.
Were you close enough to them where they would tell you something like that?
A couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, and they never said anything?
No.
Time to open up Pandora's box and
I
Facebook
mean, one of the guys I knew, he said he wasn't gay. But, when you're 13 and you're hanging out at someone's house and they say, hey,
yeah,
you want to kiss real quick and see what it's like?
But we're old men and we do that here.
No, fuck. It's just one of those things where he was just flamboyant. Mm-hmm. He obviously gay,
right?
But not out. Mm-hmm. But his family was great. They were there for each other.
Mm-hmm.
They were close.
Right.
They had a really strong bond, and I guess he could have been abused by someone else, but I don't see it. It didn't seem like that's where it stemmed from.
Okay, so we go back to, are people born gay? And I'm guessing that there are people born gay. And
I would say
that might have been
that
might have been your friend.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, or as far as I think they know,
right?
There's it's just a brain thing, right?
So it is a brain thing.
You pick up on the pheromones of the same sex instead of the pheromones of the opposite.
I know we're
sex.
going back to my observation. So my observation is, of the people that I've met that are gay, they've all had bad sexual experiences when they're young. I'm not discounting that some people can be born gay, because that was probably your friend. But I'm going to say like 90% in my observation, that's what the case is.
So you're saying that bad sexual experience turned them gay?
It traumatizes people so much when they're young that they think, yeah. How many friends do you have that are gay right now? We need to bring one of my gay friends on.
Oh fuck. Since I moved to Spokane,
yeah,
they hang gay people out here.
No, they don't.
So no, I don't know anybody in Spokane who is like that. I mean, I'm not close to very many people that aren't currently in this room right now. Right. So I mean,
Andrew's of a different generation where sexuality is a little different and a little more open, and people are more experimental. How many people do you know that are hardcore gay, that don't just experiment like you would?
Hardcore gay.
Okay, so
what's the distinction?
So I'll make the distinction. Like Andrew would probably go and enjoy something for the experience, right? You'd probably do that once.
What are you getting at here?
I'm not saying that you take it in the butt or anything, but you wouldn't have a problem with having an experience.
Some light exploration.
Who told you about my high school
So I know. So
days?
how many people do you know that are just gay?
I think I've seen a gay person once.
Really, you don't have any friends that are...
I do have a good gay friend.
And
As far as I know, he wasn't diddled as a child.
have you asked?
No.
God, we need to text him right now.
But at the same time, I don't know. It just seems like, at least in my experience growing up, that wasn't something that ever came up when you'd talk to people who talked about being gay or being bi
Right.
and all that stuff. I mean, it just never seemed like it factored in, but that could be the area I grew up in too, which is significantly different from the uncle fucking this side of the state, you know?
No, I think it's prevalent all throughout. I think we have a real problem in the United States with that. It's prevalent.
Well, I mean, when
But
the
it's
major religions do it and don't punish the action
know, but
themselves, it's kind of hard for the populace to say, oh, well, this is totally wrong.
So one of my favorite philosophers is Socrates, and it was really interesting to learn that the Greeks would take a protege, and that protege they would fuck, and it was always a male. So it was prevalent. It's been prevalent throughout the ages.
Yeah, Rome was very, very gay.
Yeah.
Very bisexual.
I don't think they were very, very gay.
They were very
I think
free-loving.
it's just
This
that
is
they
a-
were very liberal. They were very open. They just didn't put artificial rules on themselves like that,
They had
right?
sex to have sex. They had sex.
Yeah,
'cause
it was
fun.
fun. It was exciting. It felt good. It relieved stress. I mean, that's why prostitution should really be legal in the United States.
This is we're talking about man on man, woman on woman stuff here.
Yeah, so
I'm
a hole. You said
Don't-
it yourself.
don't act-
A hole is a hole, right?
I don't have a problem with it. What I'm saying is, in our society, it's not a good thing to do that. And it was unusual, not unusual. It was very common for teachers to do that to their students in Greek's time, but there wasn't a whole lot of homosexuality going on then. And you're saying that was just a normal thing in Rome.
Yeah.
I'm not
Homosexuality was.
Well, like you were saying, just sex in general.
just sex.
So in Iraq, they have very different rules about stuff, right?
Where do you think the saying in the United States, "Take it like a man," comes from?
Iraq.
No, not from
Where you get
Iraq.
beheaded if you're found doing the deed with another man,
Well, if
like South Africa or something,
Well,
or Africa in
now
general.
you're bringing up Martin. No, I'm talking about it. I'm talking like Iraq. They would rather have, because of their religion, they would rather have sex with a man, even though they're not gay, because if they don't take her as a wife, then that's a problem with their religion. I think I'm saying that right.
I don't know enough about.
Well, obviously, you know about Roman times.
Hey, you're the one explaining.
How do we go
Roman
down this
times.
road? Oh,
I know we were talking about
Socrates.
fucking Ukraine.
Yeah, I know, but abortion to this. Oh, my experiences. Yeah, it's just, I don't know what I've observed when a woman gets an abortion, that it emotionally affects her. And I am a big proponent of abortion. You should be able to do what you want with your body, but still, it would be very hard for me to tell my wife if she got pregnant again, which would be hard since her tubes are tied, go have an abortion. Because I wouldn't want to emotionally fuck her up. You brought this up because you and Amanda, you said first baby out the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 months.
Getting
Not
flushed.
even baby. It's just a clump of cells out the gate.
Yeah, massive dividing cells. That's
But
all
it
is.
affects her badly. Why? Because probably her hormone levels get all fucked up. I have no
Or
idea
do you
how
think
that
that's the method of removal? Because would you consider Plan
shot
B
back and
to be
stick
an
it.
abortion? I mean, there could be cells in there
Since
dividing.
they don't know.
But taking the pill,
Yeah, since they
Plan
don't know.
B. I mean, are you saying that their reaction to the experience is predicated on the knowledge that they are actively producing new life? Or,
know,
I mean, I don't know. if you're taking a substance that is meant to prevent or stop the development of a fetus,
Who was telling me?
then I mean, you should know full well that there's the potential for something to start happening and then for it to stop happening. And it's no different. You're ending dividing cells. I mean, granted, when it's becomes a fetus and it gets eyes and a brain and fingers and all that
So
shit,
start out as
there's
an
an
asshole.
image you can put to it, but you are still killing something that is by definition alive and would eventually
Oh my
become a baby.
So
I mean, I don't understand what the difference is.
Well, it's because you're a man.
Is that
and
homophobic? Because it could be gay in the womb.
It could be. Trans. Could be trans. Penis and...
You really
My daughter's friend,
Canceled.
that's her birth control. She uses Plan B.
Yeah.
If she has sex, she takes Plan B.
that's scary. Isn't Plan B? Doesn't that screw up your hormones
I
anyways?
fucking don't know. Instead of using a rubber or birth control, it's just pop a Plan B after you get a fucking jizz bomb thrown
Well,
inside you.
I think Plan B probably puts less hormones into your body than taking a birth control pill on a daily basis, right?
I know at least birth control, and I've known people that take it, and it regulates their whole, instead of 1 month their period being astonishing and the next month they barely even feel it, it's a lot more regulated and they can set it to a calendar, so birth control,
But that's
at
if
least
they,
not even if they're not having sex, they just have it to,
that's if they find the right birth control.
yeah.
Not all birth control works the same, and not all birth control is going to help each person's individual physiology.
Okay,
So, I
but you
mean-
could just glove up instead of or whatever. You don't have to.
Yeah, but let's
you don't
let's
have
be
to be
fair.
throwing shit inside
Nobody
yourself.
likes wearing condoms or having condoms in them. It's just a worse experience for everybody involved.
If you don't want a kid, though, why would you put a substance in your body that's going to fuck your hormones?
If you don't want a kid,
Yeah.
then you shouldn't be having sex.
Oh, fuck
Period.
me.
End
Jesus
of.
Christ.
No, I'm serious. If you are not willing to risk having a child, you should not be having sex.
It sounds like some Alabama
I mean,
sex ed or
I'm
something.
a great example of this.
Bam.
I'm a great example of this.
And the Lord will save you.
That's why I'm 35 and I almost have a 15-year-old.
Abstinence
I
only,
mean,
sex
come on.
education.
I mean, as much as I hate to say, because abstinence never works, we're animals. We're going to fuck each other at some point.
Yeah.
But honestly, if you don't want to get pregnant, don't have sex. It's, I mean, I'm not calling that abstinence. I'm just calling that.
What about the baby Jesus? What about Mary and Joseph
Baby Jesus.
Oh, no.
having a child?
God tapped that ass.
No, God did not.
God banged the shit out of that.
Could you imagine? Hold on. Just,
No,
for,
I mean,
just for a second.
Honestly, it's impossible to get pregnant as far as we know. And since
Is Mary like the luckiest woman on earth? Like, wouldn't God be like the bomb fuck?
I mean,
Oh my God! Yeah, that's me,
no,
bitch.
I honestly, I bet it would be super disappointing
Why?
because God couldn't have a massive cock. He'd just tear the woman in half.
No, he'd have
So I bet she's got the fucking tiniest Peter ever.
his cock molds inside of them, and it's perfect.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine it's built for pleasure though. It's probably 2 pumps and it was the baby
What?
gravy.
It's
Yep.
God.
But he's got too many other things to do.
It's not like the
He's
woman has
got
to.
too many people he's got too many people to observe in their homes masturbating while he scowls at them. He's got too much shit to do.
No, my thinking
Yeah,
is
so I'm my money's on 2 Pump Chump, actually.
2 pump chump with
Yeah.
the tiny Peter.
Yeah, exactly.
God's real disappointing.
I honestly
No,
think
he's
that
not.
would be in line with
That
what
might
the
be baby
Christians view as
Jesus.
God.
baby Jesus might be 2 pump chump, not God.
No,
He can
Jesus was torn. He was shredded.
What? Yes.
I believe the term is hung.
Jesus is hung.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Tell him to fuck off. He doesn't need no more Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew
You don't come into the studio when we're doing our podcast.
I'll take 1 too, please.
Oh, fuck. Fuck, you fuck right off. What the fuck is going on here? This is ridiculous.
Back to Ukraine. I think there's
God has a beautiful cock, and
I
I just
don't
want to make
think
my
so.
point on this. He's a little feminine because he can multitask. That's what you said. He's got too much shit going on. He can multitask. When he pulls down his pants, it's a bright light, and women are like, "Oh my God, what a fucking cock!" Because it's perfect every time.
He was made in man's image, right? What do
No.
you think penis size?
God was?
Man was made in God's image.
Yeah. So it's vice versa. It's man at the time probably was pretty weak in the penis, anyways. What do you think? They were 5 inches. Or
I don't know. Maybe
the time in that
so
area.
hold on. So
where
the
was
time,
Jesus born?
So Africa,
right? Oh, yeah, but Jesus was dark. He was what?
He's black.
Muslim.
He's black.
Was Jesus black?
I
or
mean,
was he
really,
brown?
They don't.
I always see the image of him being
White?
Middle Eastern. No,
That's-
not
that's
white.
your
He
very-
obviously wasn't fucking white,
He was
but
born
he was
in
Middle Eastern,
like
wasn't he?
Afghanistan. or
He is
something.
Middle Eastern, but that's part of it's
Present
Upper
day
Peninsula of what, Africa? Really?
Yeah.
You think about it. He's black. He's got a Jew fro. He's got a fucking Jew fro. It is what it is.
Have you seen a picture of him?
Yeah, I've seen lots of them.
Like taken like while he was nailed on the cross?
No,
Well, then you don't know what he looked like.
I do know what he looks
Nobody
like.
knows what he fucking looked like.
Yeah.
Everything is just an approximation
No,
from some asshole's imagination.
They do have actual drawings of what he looked like.
Drawings, an artist's interpretation.
That's fine. He had a long, skinny nose. He had a Jew fro.
We know at least he was
kind of looked like
Middle
Andrew.
Eastern.
according to how he looked by one person who saw him and then
Okay.
recreated that image.
So he's from
know-
that. It doesn't matter. He's from that fucking area. He's a darky. He's got some darky skin. He's got a Jew fro.
lot
He's
of
got
hair.
a fucking brittle beard, and he probably does a lot of
as was the thing at the time.
as it is still to this day. They have a lot of and they're fucking
I have no idea what you're fucking talking about right now.
really.
Yeah.
Have you never heard anybody from that region talk?
I mean, what region are we talking about?
Middle
You're ta-
Eastern. Middle Eastern.
Okay, but
have
you're
you
ta-
ever been to
you're-
Iraq?
You're talking about the Middle East, Northern Africa.
I'm talking about
2,000 years
Yeah, I'm
ago.
sure-
You don't know what they fucking
He
sounded
was
like.
Jewish, though,
They're-
right? I mean, the Jews nowadays.
Was he Jewish?
If there's anything, we're gonna say Jesus was Jewish. He was Judy. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Did he have a circumcised cock then?
No one had a circumcised cock back then.
What?
Yeah, because circumcising a cock back then would almost certainly lead to infection.
I'm gonna say,
and that would be the
no.
worst fucking way to die.
I'm gonna
Is
say that's
infection by fucking penis.
That's when that,
that
was
would be
a-
the worst.
He probably came out with a circumcised cock, and that's why they all do it. He went around showing everybody his
It was
cock.
Kellogg's back in like 1920 that started circumcising cocks because he thought that if you were circumcised, you wouldn't masturbate, and it was sin if you did masturbate.
Really, I thought it was because the foreskin, if not cleaned really well every day, harbors a lot of bacteria.
There's barely any smegma.
Oh.
Barely.
But there is mycelium. Mycelium being mushrooms. It happens.
I'm growing some fungi right now.
Not if you're circumcised. It doesn't.
Not if you're circumcised. But they used to have mushrooms growing out the head of their cocks back in those days.
I'm gonna Google it. Was Jesus circumcised? You guys can talk about whatever.
Can you get it a little closer to your face? 'Cause we
Once
really need to hear.
again, we're talking about something that happened 2,000 years ago, and the only fucking historical reference we have for it was a book that's been translated 1,000,000 times by a bunch of assholes. What, years
So,
fucking later
okay.
after the events took place?
Let me bring something up real quick. So
Come on.
one of my friends, he goes, "Hey, you want to go to a Gonzaga game?" I had turned him down last time because Chris had some stuff going on. So I go, "Sure, I'll go this time." So he goes, "Dude, I watched your podcast, love it." I said, "Oh, thank you." He goes, "A lot of wiener talk on there,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of wiener talk." So we avoided the wiener talk for almost the whole time, but then here comes the wiener talk again.
All right.
Yes.
So Jesus was Jewish. He was circumcised
He was.
8 days after he was born,
Allegedly.
allegedly. Which Jews now get circumcised on what, their 13th birthday, around their 13th.
What the fuck? Do they seriously
I know
wait
my
until
buddy-
they're teenagers to fucking cut the skin around their penis?
Yeah, they do.
What the fuck is wrong
That's
with
a
them?
rite of passage. You didn't know that?
No.
My buddy growing up,
They
he
have a
was
big party.
Jewish.
Oh my god, what kind of fucking horrible culture is this?
They have a big party. The whole family.
Because that's something someone wants to remember is having their penis
dude.
carved
That's when they
up.
moved. That's when they moved into manhood.
Fuck
Bree.
that.
That's when they moved
That
into man.
you know,
I can't believe.
as much as people
What do they
seem
call
to be
that? I
against
can't remember what they call it.
A brie.
No.
Bris.
No.
Bris. It says here, bris circumcision. I don't know how you say that. It would be bri, right?
But
BRS.
there's a
Yeah.
name for the party that they have.
Oh,
It's the rite of passage.
bat
It's
mitzvah.
Yeah, it's
Bar
a bar
mitzvah.
mitzvah. But I didn't know that like they were celebrating having skin cut off their penis.
Yeah.
That's fucking horrible. That is terrible.
My buddy
like,
was, yeah.
in the United States,
Dude,
we tend to do
dude,
that to, babies who won't remember the trauma.
Oh God!
But
Did you go
fucking-
in when your son had to have it done?
Did I go in?
Yeah.
No, I didn't go
Oh
in.
man!
But he was circumcised. And I understand it's full of screaming and it feels like someone is literally being murdered in the room.
So they have their own tools.
But
too. The rabbi has his own
they won't
tools that they
remember
do. And I don't think it's real sanitary.
But at least as a fucking newborn, they're not going to remember
So
the
to avoid an
experience.
infection, you give an infection. That's good shit.
Well, and Robin asked me, now that we're having a boy, are we going
Yeah.
to get him circumcised?
Oh,
And you know what my answer was?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, we are. Yeah.
Okay. So
We're not going to leave that. I mean, as horrible as it is and as unnecessary that science is kind of proving it to be, it's just not going to stay that way.
it's good to know that Jesus was cut.
Allegedly.
Wow.
We're gonna circumcise our kid, but we're gonna wait.
It's
till
on
he's
the
18.
internet. So
We're
it must be
still
true.
talking about 2,000 years ago, a lot less recorded data
Okay.
and knowledge. And if you get an infection 2,000 years ago, especially on your cock, there's not a whole lot that
Dude.
anybody's going to be able to do about it.
It's going to be
They
swollen.
used to bleed people back then to get rid of infections.
Yeah, they put a leech on his cock.
Hooray. That sounds like an even better experience.
People do rings and stuff now. They drill holes in their cock and stuff like that.
Lovely.
So Ukraine. What else
I
you
think,
got on
I think
this?
I think three things are going to happen. Three main scenarios.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Okay. The first one is the most obvious and the least controversial.
Right.
Russia goes in, fucking just wipes out all the Ukrainian defense, whatever resistance they can muster, and it just becomes part of Russia. And no one else in the world is going to do anything because, let's face it, no one gives a fuck about Ukraine.
Why do we?
Ukraine is not going to be the focal point for World War III.
Why do we care?
Why do we care?
Why do we care?
Why not? Because we've been against Russia since the 50s.
I know, but why?
And any chance we get to, give them a nice nut tap, we take the opportunity to as a country.
Did anybody watch Biden's news conference?
I watched snippets, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
So he said, we're not going to do anything if you go in there other than give you sanctions that are really going to devastate you. But if there's a stray missile, a stray bullet, and it hits any fucking NATO country, we are going to war with you.
Yeah, and I understand that. But
At least you waited
That's
until after winter.
posturing. Honestly, it's posturing. Ukraine is not worth risking
Okay,
World
so
War
let's
III.
get-
Let's just put that
World
out
War
there.
III.
No, honestly.
Yeah,
I mean, out of all the countries,
honestly, we're trying to set a precedent for China in Taiwan. That's what we're honestly trying
but
to do.
China just came out and released a
China's
statement
full
that
of-
all
I know.
countries, and I understand that might be
They're
a
full
bullshit
of shit.
statement, but it is a statement on the record.
That's fine. They don't give a fuck about statements on the record.
And
He
let's
also
be-
pulled
let-
troops back from the Ukraine border, but he really didn't.
No,
they're
he didn't.
all fucking lying pieces of shit, just like we are. The propaganda that's on our news fucking sources is absolutely ridiculous. They're fucking running over and over again. Russian skater taking drugs.
Well,
I don't give a fuck.
And the separatists have been shelling into Ukraine for the past few days too.
Hitting kindergartens, I know.
Yeah.
But why do I care about a Russian skater who's it's so important? It's on the fucking news over and over again. Why do I care about a Chinese national that is getting raped in China? Well, shouldn't they care about that? Why do I need that on my news? Why are they trying to inflame me with stupid fucking stories that don't fucking matter to me? This is my country. I'm worried about what happens here, not what happens over there. They can deal with their own fucking shit. Because we're being
Anyways.
propagandized over and over and over again.
Scenario two.
Scenario two.
And that would be that Russia just realizes saber rattling is over and they pull everything back and nothing happens of this.
That's not going to happen.
Russia points out that the United States is warmongering, trying to inflame tensions, and they take that kind of, in their opinion, political win and pull back.
That's why we should have kept Trump.
I think that's the least likely scenario.
That's really why we should have kept Trump.
But the
He
third
could have
one
negotiated
is
this shit out.
the third one is Russia invades.
Yeah.
Everything goes to shit because war is chaotic and messy. They already shot down a fucking commercial airliner. Who's to say that won't happen again? And if NATO citizens are on board and that happens again, and it's likely that it could, you could find this situation getting blown completely out of proportion, leading to escalation after escalation.
Fuck yeah.
In which case, the sky's the limit, essentially, because if you get to the point where it's no longer just a proxy conflict and the United States and Russia are actually fighting each other, I mean, where does it end?
Yeah.
The logical conclusion is it ends with nuclear weapons being used in an act of war for the third plus
so
time in history.
There's going to be a bunch of fallout over Russia because our fucking missiles up in the satellites that we have all over the place are going to blow them out of the sky.
Number one, there is a global pact that you cannot have satellite weapons.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm sure there are some countries
All
out
over the
there
place.
who have some sort of prototype weapons in their satellites
What are you
and
talking
shit
about,
like
prototype? Russia just blew up a satellite in fucking space.
that with a missile from the ground.
Was it, Taylor?
Yes, it was. You think they launched it from another satellite in space?
Some people think so, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Some people think that
Some
there's
people-
aliens in the moon.
No, they think that there's people, that we have 1 million people on Mars and that there's people living on the dark side of the moon right now.
Okay.
That's what some people think.
Entirely more feasible and entirely more practical that they launched it from the ground.
Okay.
I haven't seen any evidence that suggests that it was a satellite to satellite
So
weapon.
here's the deal. In 1984, when I was a child, that's when Reagan was going to put missiles in space. 1984. And Russia had a big fucking problem with it. What was it called? I can't remember what it was called back then.
Because of Operation Starfish.
I
In
know, but
the 50s, they figured out that if you detonated a nuclear weapon in high orbit, it caused a massive burst of electromagnetic pulse, which fried electrical grids, which was the whole.
I know, but
which was the whole thing about
this
why
was for
they,
defense, supposedly for defense. So if
weapon is a weapon.
in 1984, if they were talking about it, here's something interesting. So I was working at Hewlett Packard
I'm sorry.
when I was like 22, 23 years old, working at Hewlett Packard. And the security guard down at the front, because I was always working late, right? A security guard down at front, you became friends with him. He's an older guy. And we got into a conversation about a stealth bomber, and he used to be in the Air Force, and he said that he used to service those. I said, well, when did you used to service those? He goes, in the 60s. So they were developing the stealth bomber in the late 60s, early 70s. We didn't get to see it until the 80s, right? When they actually rolled it out, because it was old fucking technology and they were going past that.
You're talking like the original like Blackhawks or what?
I'm talking about, no, not the ones that deliver the nuclear bombs, the ones that they were flying in Iraq that you couldn't touch because they couldn't see them on fucking radar. So they had those, they were developing those, and they were flying them in the late 60s, early 70s. And we didn't start using them. So all this old technology has been passed by.
Black Hawk's a helicopter anyways.
Black Hawk is in a helicopter.
I'm just waiting for a point.
The point being that you don't know what the fuck's going on. If they started developing it in 1984, there's fucking nukes up in, or missiles that can intercept other nukes.
Of course.
Nothing's coming to the American
But
mainland.
nothing. Okay.
If you might sneak one through, but nothing's coming here.
Let me ask
Where are they
you this.
going? They're going after an Air Force base. We're screwed.
No, they're going after large cities. It's just,
I just don't think there are missiles on satellites in orbit.
I can almost guarantee
Number
it.
one, if there was any problem with the payload during launch, that'd be it. If there was any problem in orbit, software, operational,
Or-
hardware. I'm just saying, I don't believe there are nuclear weapons in orbit.
even
it would be too fucking risky.
So
Like you're talking about having to get a weapon of mass destruction from the ground into orbit with technology we are far from perfecting. Not to mention, if it falls out of the sky and that nuclear weapon happens to, I mean, it's inherently designed to survive re-entry. So if something happened with that satellite's orbit and it couldn't be corrected or changed, then you would have nuclear weapons potentially falling through the sky. You're not going to convince me that any country has nukes in orbit. It is just
I'm not saying nukes. I'm saying missiles. So with anything that's going to re-enter, they know when it's going to re-enter and they can direct it where they want.
Yeah.
So they would have it fall in the fucking sea and they would go and they would recover it.
Maybe.
We also have weapons, which seem more feasible to me, that can shoot down any missile.
No,
they really do. They have these. They have these lasers.
Interceptors.
They have these lasers.
Oh, yeah,
that will heat up.
Experimental fucking
They're not experimental. They've been on ships since the 90s.
Yeah. And when was the last time you ever heard of one of those things being used in actual combat?
So
never.
Did you hear about?
They've
not getting missiled a whole lot.
tested. Yeah, but what I'm saying is actual combat is different from we're going to launch this missile right from there. It's going to come, 100 miles, or well, our thing is perfectly set up to be at the right angle with the right power consumption, no interference. We're going to shoot it down. That's not how war works. War is not so laid out perfectly for you to test a weapon. It's chaotic.
How is it chaotic? Did you not watch the TV when we just went over and ass raped the second biggest military in the world?
What?
Yeah. Iraq had the second most troops in the world. They were a huge. When we took them over, we just went over and ass raped them in seconds. What are you talking about?
Because we have the sheer resources.
Yeah, that nobody else has in the world. You're talking about Russia, which is damn near a third world country.
To say that they don't have... Okay, you're equating resources in an entirely different way than I would, because you're saying that, Russia has more tanks than the United States does. You know that, right?
Yeah, that are old.
It's still a piece of equipment.
Okay,
that's like saying, oh yeah, Russia's got, only half the amount of nukes that the U.S. has, and they're old, but it's like...
So stop for a second,
Taylor. They can still kill somebody and destroy
They really can. But Iraq had bought everything from Russia. And I think they had the second most amount of tanks at that time in the world. And we just one tank went over and just took out all their fucking tanks. It was insane to watch how they just went over and they got all their military stuff from Russia.
I remember watching the videos of
trying to shoot down planes that they couldn't fucking touch.
Yeah, well, that's because tanks aren't exactly designed to shoot down fucking planes.
No, I'm talking about they put anti-aircraft on their fucking buildings all over the fucking place. All that stuff was from Russia. And we just went over and fucking wiped the fucking floor with them.
Because when you can push a button and fire a missile from 100 miles away, it kind of leaves your guys out of the danger zone.
They were launching them, and we were shooting them down.
We've got drones that we had when we were in Iraq and Afghanistan, though. We didn't even need to have personnel in the general vicinity to blow something up, though.
This is ridiculous. They were launching Scuds all over the place. We were shooting them down with Patriot missiles all over the place. Every once in a while, one would make it through, but it just didn't happen. The reality is that we have this fucking war machine that's capable of fucking everybody up in the world. It is what it is. And other countries look at us and they're fucking scared of us, and we don't realize that. The other countries are afraid that we'll go over and we'll take them over at some point. Like, we're the bullies on the fucking block. It just is what it is.
All that Russia has going for them is that they're impossible to invade, not that they're great at invading other countries.
That they're impossible to invade?
When has a country successfully invaded Russia?
What are you talking about? Germany invaded Russia during World War II.
They invaded Russia, but they
got beat back eventually, but they fucked up Russia before they started getting hit from three other sides, weakening their attack.
All they have to do is wait for winter to come and pull their troops back.
Russia survived. Russia survived the German invasion with sheer fucking manpower.
Numbers.
They just threw everything they had at holding the fucking line.
The problem is...
but look at the sacrifice that Russia had to put forth to do that.
That was the problem. The problem was that Germany was trying to fight too many fronts. And so when they took on Russia, it just
Well,
overwhelmed them.
but look how successful they were at the beginning of the war.
They just people were just laying down for them,
and
too.
certain countries just said, "Yeah, sure,
Yeah,
we don't want trouble. We'll just join you."
Yeah.
I mean, when you've got countries that are literally laying down their arms and saying, "Yeah, sure, come on in." I mean, that's going to give you a lot of leeway, but it puts you further behind enemy lines when your enemies finally show up.
So you have Ukraine's not a pushover either because they're kind of like Russia, Canada, United States. Everybody's got a gun. So it's going to be a handful for Russia to go in there. Anyways, I don't want war with anybody. I'm a pacifist bitch now that I'm older. And I don't know, man. Just all bad mojo.
What's number 3? What's
That was number 3.
Oh.
The first one was that
Why
Russia
can't-
goes in, nobody does fucking anything.
Why can't diplomacy work? Like, just open up the
You re-
fucking
you-
canal
you
and
really-
let them have water again.
You really think that Russia is going to keep giving Europe gas, natural gas to heat in the winters?
Oh yeah, after this,
After, if Russia goes in there and we put all these sanctions on them, what do you think that's going to do to Europe?
well they still
That's
need
going to soften their hands because they know that they need Russia because they've connected their fate to their fucking gas pipelines for too fucking long.
Wait, the resolve of Europe is going to go down too. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if their gas gets cut off,
I don't think their gas is going to cut.
Why
off
not?
Because they need to feed their people.
if the sanctions that the Europeans and that the Americans and anybody else puts on Russia gets them to the point where they no longer need to export that gas, they might use it to hurt the West.
So my guess is the natural gas in the United States, the production of it is going to go through the fucking roof, and we're going to be supplying them with natural gas
In
and
a seriously less convenient way, because
and
instead of
it'd
it
be
being
more expensive.
transported
It'll be
through
more
a
expensive.
pipeline,
I
we
get
have to actually ship it on boats, which is also more dangerous.
And it's going to be more expensive. But they're not going to be without. I don't think. They've got this figured out somehow.
I don't think so.
Wow, that was a long discussion about Ukraine.
Would you fund? Say we had someone uncircumcised on the show.
Yeah.
Would you fund for them to get circumcised?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know how much
One
it
week
is.
they come on, they talk about it. The next week they come on.
If they wanted to,
It's like $200.
huh?
It's like $200.
The copay.
It's free
No,
if you have a
they
windowsill.
don't. Insurance companies don't cover it anymore.
Oh,
Ever since the ADA came out and said it's not necessary to do these days
well, it's not.
because of our soaps and sanitary practices and all that.
$200. Yeah, I'm down. Do you know somebody
We could find somebody.
that wants to be circumcised?
That wants to have skin cut off their penis while they're
We'll
awake.
do it right here.
Fuck
We would have to
you.
drug them, I think.
No, I just do
What
it.
if they don't?
I mean, they don't drug infants when they do it, do they?
I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
they just
For
start
them
snipping.
to agree with it, they would have to be drugged if they don't want to have to go through with being circumcised.
Oh,
Because I
that'd
know
be-
I wouldn't. Let's get a before they go to their bat mitzvah, before they go to
Yeah.
their brie.
What if it's just like a 20-year-old guy that doesn't like the skin on his cock and he wants? It doesn't have to be. It could be anybody. If somebody's out there and wants to get circumcised, you can come here. I'll get a doctor here and
Contact
cut your
us.
cock.
We'll pay for your circumcision.
I want it, but it's got to be here.
It's
I want to see it.
gonna be a massacre. We gotta lay down plastic like Dexter.
We really do. I don't want my shit all bloody. I went and put the sensor on my wife's arm last night because she's diabetic. So she's got this thing where you just put your phone up to it and tells you your blood, and it was defective. So where the needle is, it's supposed to be capped on the backside with a sensor, but that sensor wasn't there, and it just started spurting out the fucking back of her arm all over the fucking kitchen floor.
Fuck.
It's like, holy shit! I didn't know that. Yeah, this little needle would do that much. So there was a lot of cleanup. What do you guys think about the trucker thing?
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Why? But it's okay for other people to go protest and rip down stores and stuff like that.
What they're protesting, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, explain.
It's so
How can you explain something that doesn't make sense?
You're further away from your mic. Why just like fucking children?
it's 90% of people in Canada are vaccinated and masked, right?
I don't know.
Is it or truckers? I'm sorry, 10% of truckers that are making a big fuss about this.
Mm-hmm.
They're not peacefully protesting or anything. They're making lives worse for the people that are living where they're protesting, which is everything they're against when people are protesting in America, right? It's like, why make lives harder and why loot and protest out in the streets?
Are you against protesting?
Am I? No, absolutely not.
So why can't they
got
protest?
a free pair of Nikes. Protest.
You got a free pair of Nikes? You cheap fuck. Go to a good store. I'm going to Macy's.
That's all we busted into over here was the Apple Store and Nikes, and I wasn't getting an iPhone.
Why they're so much better.
There's no such thing as a. What did Martin Luther King say?
I mean, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I hate
misquote him
Whitey.
here.
I hate Whitey.
This is something that some Klansmen centers. He's like, the only way we're gonna have any sort of change is not by a peaceful protest, but
This would be more along
eating the
like
rich.
Malcolm X. So he was tired of the peaceful protests, right?
because they weren't. I mean, what were they accomplishing?
Nothing.
It's because at that time when Black Panther era was, they would be protesting peacefully, but they'd be getting their shit rocked, right? So honestly, they had to start fighting back at that point,
Yeah.
even if they were going to get lynched anyways.
Taylor, what do you think about the fucking protests? You cool with it?
Why do I fucking care? It's going on in Canada.
No. Have you? Well, you're not privy to some stuff. No, all the truckers are going to start lining up and heading to Washington, D.C. now.
From the U.S.
Yes.
So they're following the example of Canada now.
Well, solidarity.
I don't understand what the whole thing's about. Explain it to me.
They don't want to wear masks.
Seriously, they don't want to. They don't want to wear masks.
No,
Vaccinated.
Stop. To go over the border, you have to be vaccinated.
Yeah, makes sense.
No, but so what you're supposed. Here's the deal with Taylor. Here's the deal with Taylor. He is supposed to be our news guy. Did you figure out a news story for us?
We've been fucking talking about Ukraine basically the entire day.
Okay,
that is my news for the day.
But like the second biggest story in the news is like the protests that are going on.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Well, you're
No,
our news guy.
I
You're
don't
supposed to
fucking
be
care.
objective.
It's going on in Canada. Who fucking
No,
cares?
it's gonna be happening in the United States.
Why?
Well, that's what I'm asking you, newsman.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, if you want to cross the border, get vaccinated.
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, it's not just us that's saying that. If Canada wanted to let you in unvaccinated, it wouldn't matter if the United States didn't want you to leave unvaccinated. You'd just be able to go into Canada.
Our newsman.
No, I don't give a fuck about what's going on in Canada. And I don't give a fuck about what's going on with all these people that are unvaccinated and obstinate about it.
You
I
don't
just
mean that. We love our Canadian neighbors.
Fucking care.
So
I'm
here's
so over this shit.
Okay, so here's 50% of the populace does care. So I'm cool with you protesting or having these things to hold stuff up. But if you're going to be cunty and you're going to bitch about gas prices or food prices or any stuff like that, because this directly affects all of that, you can go fuck off. So either you pick a side, like I'm with the protesters, I'm willing for higher food prices, I'm willing to have higher prices for goods, or if you want to be on both sides of the fence, then fuck you. You can go fuck off. That's my point on this.
Yeah?
Yeah, because people want to play both sides of it. They want to say, oh, inflation, it's fucking horrible. But all these big traffic jams, which stop goods from traveling all over the place, all it does is jack our prices up. But I'm with the protesters. Fuck the vaccine. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both fucking ways. I'm cool with the protesting. And I can afford higher prices. Can you?
No.
Yeah.
I just don't fucking care.
You will win. Your fucking meat is like your tofu shit is expensive.
Kidding me? It's already fucking expensive.
I know.
It's already doubled in price in the last 2 to 3 years. So I mean, we're already living that. But
that's because we're close to the collapse.
I don't have any empathy left for the people who refuse to help themselves.
Did you ever have empathy for them?
Yeah.
Really?
Because in the beginning it was, this new and scary thing, mRNA. What is it? What does it mean? What does it do? Is it changing our DNA?
Yeah, my balls
At
exploded.
first, I was empathetic towards them because it was something new, and I understand that people have a tendency to fear things that aren't familiar to them. So when they came out and they said it's this new vaccine, it works in an entirely different way. that was a problem because it scared all these people who would normally be scared of their own shadow anyways. And it made people freak out. So, I mean, in the end, yeah, I was empathetic to the plight of the unknown. But here we are. It's at least 2 years after the pandemic started. If you haven't sought out the correct information and you've just listened to what's
just
been
railing.
fed to you,
Joe Rogan.
then yeah, I've got
He's Joe Rogan.
no sympathy for you anymore. That time for me has passed.
Yeah, well, it isn't something new. For one, they've been working on the SARS vaccine, and then they stopped working on the SARS vaccine. So they've been working on this previous to this.
It's like 2008.
Yeah,
for decades.
for fucking ever.
But
and,
this
and
is
then
the
they
first. This is the first time it's been put into people's bodies
yeah.
in any large scale capacity.
It's because SARS burned itself out, basically. So they stopped working on it. And when we had the pandemic, then they brought it back up. So it's not something new. They've been working on this for fucking ever.
Yeah, but how many from
How many people are educated?
fucking bumfuck Arkansas are up to date on what Big Pharma's doing,
Some.
on a year-to-year basis as far as research and development? You can say that this
None of
is
us
not new, and it's not, because they've been working on mRNA vaccines forever. The problem is
the specific
fucking
type.
Joe Sixpack down in, Louisiana has never fucking heard of this. And it scares him to think that all this shit he's hearing from this side,
It's fucking old reference.
well, it's
an old
they're
man.
terrified of what this side is saying, even though this side is reassuring them. And there's just too much conflicting information, some of which is just lies and some of which is just ignorance. But it's altering the perception that this is something scary and something that needs to be feared. That's just what it is.
I know we've got to get.
But we've had
Full
plenty
circle.
of time to educate ourselves on what this is, what it does, and what the ramifications of it mean.
I educated myself on Facebook.
And that's part of the problem.
Hell, fuck yeah. But regardless of the fact, you should still have. I'm on the fence. You should still have a choice of what you want to put in your body.
You do have a choice.
I
It's
agree-
just
I
whether or not
agree
you
to a
get fired
point.
afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
So
If
hold on.
you don't want to put it in your body, that's fine.
This is out of control.
But your employer and your school has the right
So
to tell you
Okay, since
that
you
as a
haven't-
consequence of that inaction,
okay,
you were no longer able to participate in that part of society.
I know this is you.
It's cause and effect.
Cause and effect. So what they're doing with some of these truckers up there is they're going into their bank accounts and they're freezing them. The government is.
I don't know anything about that.
Well, that's a reality. That was from Trudeau himself. So now people, since all your money is electronic,
But why? What's the rationale behind freezing a trucker's?
to stop the protests, they couldn't stop the protests. So they were going and they were freezing people's assets.
Are they charging
You
these?
and me, they are freezing people's
but
assets.
Are they
at our fucking
charging
levels.
these people with a crime?
No, they're freezing their
So
assets.
they're just arbitrarily saying we want this person to stop protesting.
People are getting
so we're
arrested.
going to starve them out.
People-
That's what they're doing.
People
They're
are
arresting
Well,
people
people are getting
protesters.
arrested as well.
But is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
People who aren't charged with a crime.
Oh well, we can look it up.
I mean, it just seems weird that they would
they are
start
going
freezing the
into your-
assets of everyday people.
They are going into your bank account. They're going into their bank account. So you're cool with that. Because if you don't get it, you are fucked. You should lose your job, and they should freeze your fucking assets.
I'm okay with them losing their job. I'm not okay with the government deciding because you disagree with me, I'm going to take away your everything you've earned up until this point. No,
We have finally reached dystopia, and that is a reality.
Who knew Canada would reach that before us?
Yeah, isn't
Pretty,
that, well,
pretty sure
it's-
we've reached dystopia
it's
long
insane.
ago in the United States.
Well, where's your tipping point? I already told the story when we went down and we saw cats, and we're going through and we're getting body scanned with a wand, and then you have to go through the fucking metal detector, empty out your pockets. My wife's cool with that, and she shows her Vax card, and she's cool with that just to get in to see cats. But when she puts her purse up there, this lady goes, "It's the last time you're going to be able to bring your purse here." My wife looks at her and goes, "What do you mean? It has to be a clear purse from now on." My wife looks at me and goes, "Things are really changing." because now
After spending 15 minutes being thoroughly searched.
yeah, every cavity, things are really changing because you have to have a clear plastic purse. So
They're
what
gonna
point?
glove up and give you a prostate exam.
Yeah,
next.
no kidding.
At what
It's coming
point?
soon.
At what point do we start going? Yeah, I agree that some of our liberties have been fucking just ripped from us. Oh, apparently it's when they're reaching in your bank account and they're freezing it at any point when they want to. All of a sudden now you're indigent. You can't do anything. You can't pay your house. You can't buy fucking food.
Yeah. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah, but okay, so that's where it is for you. For my
I
wife,
don't-
it was a clear plastic purse. But these people shouldn't have the right to say yay or nay on something. I'm just all of a sudden they want to start fucking putting things in your body. What happens when it's a fucking chip next time? I know I'm going to the extreme, Taylor, but what happens when it's a chip?
We're gonna get
Well, you
numbers
need a
tattooed
fucking
on
chip
our
in your
arms.
body. Yeah, fuck the Bible and all that stuff. It's the 666 bullshit. What point are you going to say, well, yeah, this is fucked?
I wouldn't get a chip in my body.
Well, if you didn't want to be ostracized, everybody needs one for their fucking job.
I don't.
Yeah, you
I don't
can't.
think
No.
What
That's
good is
gonna
the chip
happen.
gonna do?
So,
What are you talking?
so
IDs or
tracking
what?
your bank, you could whatever the chip is good for, whatever. Your
That'd be
health.
kind of sick,
They
like a
could
debit
say-
card chip,
I
like
mean-
in your thumb, where you could just scan your thumb to pay for stuff.
Realistically, I mean, it would be. I mean, if you could
Convenient.
ensure that it wouldn't be used for nefarious purposes,
fuck me.
that would be sweet. I mean, something that monitored your health.
What was Kingsman about?
When you go to reach for your doorknob, it scans the chip. It's like, oh fuck, this guy's supposed to be here. It unlocks your door.
Someone cuts
scan
out your chip and you get, that's okay.
So when has anybody
I
in
thought we
power?
could hack someone else's chips, anyways.
I mean, that would be cool, but there'd be no way to ensure that it would never be abused.
Because anybody in power.
Because of the country and the world we live in.
yeah.
but you're equating that to Vax cards, right?
No, vaccines. Why should you have to put something in your body?
You
that
shouldn't
don't
have
want
to.
Right.
But you should have to deal with the consequences of that choice.
Exactly. The same thing with the protest.
Yeah.
So now you're cool with them freezing your assets.
No, because that is not.
They're disturbing the peace.
It seems unnecessary. It's
But
like,
what happens when you do something that they choose not, that they don't like?
but
This is
there's
negatively affecting millions of people, though.
What is? I
Just
just
blockades.
went to Walmart yesterday,
just
and
don't-
I've never seen them so stocked.
I just don't
It's
understand how
not-
they can freeze a bank account for someone who has not been charged with a crime.
They might have been, I don't know, but they are freezing bank accounts
and
of
that
these truckers.
seems wrong.
It is wrong.
No, they
Yeah, so what's the fucking argument here? We both agree that it's
What
wrong,
I'm saying is,
but
at what point do you start going, this is fucked up? Obviously,
it's
you're
all fucked up.
no, but you're cool with people having to getting vaxxed, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I want
if they choose to.
I want everybody to get vaxxed too, but I want them to have the choice.
Yeah. So
Right.
we agree.
But they can't. All of a sudden, they can't go over the borders and deliver food to people, right? So, if you don't get vaxxed, I'm going to take away your livelihood.
No, that's just a consequence of the choice they made.
So is fucking protesting. So
But-
now,
but
let's say we're peacefully
Freezing a bank account does not seem like a legal consequence for the choice they're making. It seems like it's government overreach.
Exactly. That's what I say. So
And yeah.
so it's forcing somebody to get a fucking vaccine. I want everybody to get vaccinated. I am vaccinated. But at what point do we say this is fucking bullshit?
probably clear the blockade pretty darn quick, though. I think they were confiscating gas cans also.
So fucked up. So what happens when we're peacefully protesting for Black Lives Matter, but somebody doesn't like it? And they see your face because we can scan faces now, and they fucking find out who you are.
This situation's already been happening for years, so I don't understand what the hypothetical is about.
This isn't happening for years. This is the first time at a protest where they don't want you to do something, so they freeze your assets.
No, I understand that this is something
So
different.
I'm giving you a scenario in the future. I'm giving you
what you're talking
something-
about is happening in Canada, correct?
Yes.
This is not something that is extending to the United States because we have laws that clearly distinguish that this is unless they,
Edward Snowden.
the government
Edward Snowden.
from the government's perspective, he committed a crime by stealing and leaking classified information.
Okay.
That is a different scenario
That's
from
fine.
somebody who's protesting their rights.
That's fine, but they weren't supposed to be spying on you.
Yes,
They were not
agreed.
supposed. That's my
Yes.
point to you.
Agreed.
Anytime you give somebody in a position of power an ability to do something, they overreach all the fucking
Yes.
time. So you can't say that America is not going to do this when
Agreed.
they do something shitty like that.
And if Edward Snowden had gone through the proper channels to be a whistleblower, he
would've
would
been
have
assassinated.
far
That's
more
fine.
legal protections than what he did, which was
No,
flee to an adversarial country with a cache of classified data that could potentially affect the national security of the United States.
You say if he goes through the right channels. Who was the guy who supposedly raped somebody back east, and he had to flee the country? Was who's the guy, the whistleblower that fucking
Julian Assange?
yeah.
He didn't rape somebody in the United States. He raped somebody, was allegedly sexually assaulted a couple people in Sweden and I believe maybe the UK as well.
Right. Okay. So what's interesting about all of that, and I don't know what he did do or what he didn't do, but once he started releasing data, a whole shitstorm started coming at him. And there was no shitstorm before he started releasing data, but after he did.
So you're saying the allegations against him are fabricated?
No, I'm just saying that the United States government, when you fuck with them, you're fucked.
When you do something that the United States government as a whole sees as a violation of the law, yes, you are fucked.
Yeah, and
But
crazy Hillary was up there. We need to get this motherfucker.
Then again, he could have had his day in court to prove his innocence. He chose to not go that route, though.
Yeah, just because he knew.
It's all cause and effect. Each of us has a choice to make in each situation we come across. And yes, if you choose to make a decision that leads to the consequences like Julian Assange had, yes, you are going to look like the victim. You are going to look like the United States is being the bully against you. But he could have gone through the process and tried to prove his innocence.
Okay, so when you go out and you protest, Taylor, and they freeze your bank account, you're going to go through the right steps.
That, in the United States, that would be illegal. Unless
it
I
would
was
be illegal.
charged with a crime, and unless they could prove that crime was tied to the money in my bank.
So-
all I'm saying is it works differently in the United States.
All I'm saying is you can look at the Snowden case and go, oh, they weren't supposed to be doing, in the United States, legally, they weren't supposed to be tracking you at every fucking point, but they did.
Yes.
You can say that in the future that it's against the law for them to freeze your assets, but it might happen because now there's a precedent that they did in Canada, so we can fucking do it here.
And that's what the court systems are for. And
No,
the
the
United
courts, it's all bullshit.
Listen, if you're going to say it's all bullshit and you're going to say that there's no...
It's already precedent. With the Snowden stuff, it's already precedent that they don't give a fuck.
How many people in the United States over the course of committing a crime do you think are going to go to the extent that someone like Edward Snowden went to?
Oh, none.
Well, then
He's amazing.
Well, then we're talking about an exceptional case, not a case that's going to be applied to every single fucking potential crime for the next 100 years.
This has nothing to do with Edward Snowden. This has everything to do with what the American government was doing to you. That's my point. I don't give a fuck about Edward Snowden. He can go fuck right off. I'm talking about what they legally weren't supposed to be doing.
And if they had gone through the proper procedure, it would have gone to the courts, and the courts would have decided one way or the other about the legality of it.
Okay.
In which case, it would have been entirely struck down instead of allowing Congress to only partially, secretly strike the rest of it down.
So do you think there was nobody out there in the United States that wanted to take this to a lawyer and go sue over it and whatever else? There was nobody out there that cared about their fucking privacy.
Not enough to get the ball rolling, at least.
Fuck. I am. I ain't got no money.
To be a whistleblower requires a substantial amount of risk, and most people I can imagine would not want to take that kind of risk, even though they felt strongly about the legality or the illegality of what was going on behind the scenes.
So I think
you are risking your life when you do that, because if you're wrong, the hammer gets turned around and you're just fucked.
Next thing you know, you're living in Russia. Really?
He fled before the hammer came down.
He was going to go to fucking jail.
Because of what he was doing. He was going about it through the wrong channels, the wrong way. If he had started this process from the beginning the correct way,
assassinated before he could come out with anything.
You know, there's no point
been.
having this conversation because the past is the past. What happened, and we can talk about the other routes he could take, but we're never going to know what the results of those other routes are.
I don't care about that. I don't care.
Unless we see it happening in reality.
You're missing the point.
No, I understand the point is the government was committing a crime, and he was trying to reveal the crime.
And they still are.
And if he had revealed the crime in the proper way, it would have gone through the proper channels, and we might not have that system still in place.
I doubt it.
Well, then what's the point of having the conversation? If in the end the government...
The point of having this conversation is, obviously you lost it somewhere, is in Canada. They're fucking freezing people's assets,
but
right?
What bearing does that have on the United States?
Oh my God, because I'm giving you a parallel.
But it's Canada. It's not like our governments are entwined. It's two separate governments reacting to a situation in two separate ways.
So
were they freezing the bank account of all the Black Lives Matter activists?
Not yet.
No, because they couldn't do it because of the way the laws are set up. I don't know Canada's laws. I don't know what the fuck they're doing up there. They may be going to hell.
No, they live in a better life than we are. So
apparently not.
The prime minister decided to do
less
this.
rights.
Well, now.
Well, I'm just saying, what bearing does that have on the United States?
It's a precedent.
Because no, it's a precedent for Canada.
How?
Because it's happening in Canada through the Canadian government.
To be completely honest,
just because fucking North Korea has fucking slave labor camps doesn't mean the United States is going to look at that and say, "Oh, that's precedent."
Are they a Western country?
A what?
A Western country.
Depending on your perspective, yeah.
No, they're not.
They're to the west of us.
No,
therefore, that makes them Western.
You're being absolutely
Western,
ridiculous.
Eastern, Northern, Middle Eastern. It's all arbitrary. It's all depending on where you are.
Bitch to bitch. The American government does shitty stuff to people.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
I'm not denying
it's not that far of a stretch to think that that's coming down the road.
It is when you're comparing it to something that's taking place in another country. If this were actively...
This is a westernized country. Their laws are a lot more lax. Their government does not fuck over the people like we do.
Apparently not.
Our corporations...
Apparently it's all been a facade.
Our corporations could not get our goods into Canada to make cars. So next thing you know, their prime minister comes out and starts freezing bank accounts of people.
And that is wrong. I'm not denying that.
Right.
It is fucked up. But what I'm saying is you're talking about another country with another form of government, and I just don't think that has any meaningful bearing on how the United States chooses. Because if the United States wanted to freeze the bank account of every protester in the country, they could do that at any time. But it would go to the courts. They would strike it down because of the way our Constitution is written. I mean, it's literally baked in there that this is a fundamental right. As long as you are not breaking the law over the course of your demonstration, your protest, it is protected. I don't know what Canada's constitution is. I don't know what their Bill of Rights is. I just don't know enough about Canada.
You're our news guy. You should know that.
Yeah, but when has anything interesting come out of Canada?
Well,
this is like the first fucking thing.
No, yeah, exactly, because nothing happens up there. Yeah. Everything's fine. They're not fucking doing shitty stuff to their people.
So what you're saying is this one random instance in time is the beginning of Canada's fall into dystopia. That's what you're saying.
No.
You're saying this is so serious.
I'm saying
that this is going to literally affect the entire world.
So I'm saying American corporations couldn't get what they wanted up in Canada. So they went as far as the prime minister to fucking freeze people's assets in their bank account. American corporations.
It sounds like normal government corruption if that's the case.
Oh God. So America is a corporatocracy. So it's not that far of a stretch to think that can happen here.
What the heck is a corporatocracy? Wouldn't that be like an oligarchy or something?
What's that?
What is a corporatocracy?
Oligarchy involves people.
A few people.
Rich people. But what he's talking about is the corporations being so powerful as a whole that they can set the agenda, they can change policy and all that stuff.
Which they do in the United States. Russia has more of an oligarchy. So they're run by a few people. They have oligarchs over there.
What are the gun laws like in Canada, Dwayne?
Unrestrictive.
Yeah.
I think in Quebec, I think they're very restrictive.
Okay. How many people are in Canada?
40 million.
38.
That's pretty fucking close.
How many people are there in the United States right now?
362.
412. Is this Price is Right?
Yeah.
392.5 million as of the 2020 census.
Okay, so we've grown.
So there's probably about 15 million more than that number. So let's just go ahead and say almost 350 million. I mean, huge difference, over a tenfold difference. Do you really think that the United States as a whole, with the amount of firearms in our country, the amount of sheer force that even the average citizen has the potential to unfurl against any perceived enemy, do you really think the situation is the same between the United States and Canada?
How so? What do you mean? On what
I'm
level?
saying just on a level of basic control. You're talking about
we're much more controlled than Canada.
I'm maybe from the perspective of someone who's in the know on, up to date on government politics and all that stuff. Maybe, yeah. But if the shit were really to hit the fan, who do you think would be able to control their population easier?
Who do I think?
Yeah. Do you think the United States or Canada would be able to?
Because you have the third largest army in the world, third or fourth?
But there's no guarantee that army.
Oh, they follow commands. I mean, it's just
Maybe.
They're talking like
they couldn't even get the National Guard to follow commands from Congress between him and the president on January 6th.
It's because the president didn't want anything to happen.
And that's what I'm saying.
What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. One portion of the government that is supposed to be equal with the other portion.
I know, but they're Trump lovers.
But it doesn't matter. It's an example in history that shows that even the National Guard, which is allowed to operate within the nation, didn't act when they should have between one and two co-equal branches of government. So why are you thinking that the army that isn't allowed to act on American soil in any substantial capacity, because the army is not the police?
No, but you're assuming that they're not going to.
And you're assuming that they are.
Oh, we came very close to it.
When?
January 6th.
Okay.
Well, it was almost a coup, my brother. It was an attempted coup.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so
what? They chose not to. They chose inaction because of the person that was in office.
But they chose inaction through a branch of the military that is allowed to operate within the United States.
Yeah, but the person, I don't understand what you're saying. The person that was supposed to give the order didn't give the order, so they didn't do anything. So I'm missing the point here.
But I'm missing your point, because you said at the beginning of this conversation that the United States government would exert control through the military. That's what got this started.
Through the military?
Yes. You said that the United States military has so many people, so many resources, that they would just be able to clamp down on the entire country. Correct?
No, I don't remember saying that.
Okay, then explain your statement about the United States government military being able to pacify in the event of, because this conversation started when I said, in the event of the shit hitting the fan, which country would be able to pacify and stabilize quicker? And you said the United States.
Oh, when you asked this question?
Yeah, you said the United States would.
I
and
know.
you use the military.
Who would be able to subdue their people easier?
Yes.
The United States, in a heartbeat.
And I disagree.
And I don't think I said military. You asked who would be able to subdue them.
Okay, so can you explain how you would picture that subduing effort to go?
How many people were inside their houses when COVID was happening because of the government?
Not enough, apparently.
Oh, a fucking shitload.
But not enough.
You would hit the streets and there would be nobody out there.
For a couple weeks until everybody got tired of that.
I know, but you're asking a question. how would the government subdue us? Through propaganda and media and everything. I don't know why this went to. I don't know why this went to National Guard and
You
stuff.
don't think they'd have to lift a finger? You think they'd just talking heads on the TV would be enough to subdue the population?
It's already enough to divide the country.
Of course, but this country has been divided for decades.
No, not really.
It's just the problems have been exacerbated and brought to the surface.
Not until
in
we
the
got a
last
darkie
20
in there.
years.
Once we got the black guy in
No,
there.
I understand that
then
that
all
might have been
fucking
the
shit went
most
to hell.
recent catalyst.
But
for
before
what was-
that, we were united.
no.
Yeah,
No.
September 11th. Oh my God,
That's what we need.
Yeah.
We need another 9/11.
we really do.
And what came from
together.
that?
What came from that?
Lies from the Bush government that
I know,
propagated
but
a war.
why
And
are we
the
going?
people found out
Where are we
that-
going with this? Like what?
Bush did
I'm just
9/11.
saying the United States is too divided. It's too much of a clusterfuck between the three co-equal branches of federal government, much less every single lower government and court throughout the country. You think the United States would be able to pacify its population
yet-
easier, and I'm telling you, with the amount of guns and the amount of freedom to obtain weapons we have in this country, it would not be an easy task
And yet-
to pacify
okay,
the
okay.
entire nation.
And yet we're willing to give up all of our privacy.
I don't think anybody's willing to give up their privacy.
They-
I think the United States government is overstepping their authority to invade our privacy. That's just because it's
where
happening
are
doesn't
we
mean
at here?
anybody's willing to accept it.
So corporatocracy, let's go back to that real quick. Apple put out an update that stopped everybody from tracking you. And all of a sudden, Facebook and all these giants started losing a ton of fucking money.
Nothing requires Apple to track you. Nothing.
No,
I mean,
App-
they haven't done anything illegal.
You have to opt into.
It's their hardware. They can choose to allow
Right.
you the choice, and that's exactly what they did.
They did. So, but you were being tracked all the time,
Yes.
and you were cool with it.
Well, maybe not. You accepted it to the extent that
So,
you could utilize services.
I know. I'm going back.
yes.
I'm going back to the whole privacy thing with like Stoughton and stuff like that. Google's going to do the same thing. So you have these corporations that are going to be super pissed off that this stuff's happening.
Fuck them.
I agree. Fuck them.
I wish Facebook would go under.
But even though that we knew we were being tracked, our privacy was going away, that we were being pushed in certain ways, we didn't care. We still allowed it to happen.
I don't know. I don't use Facebook.
I get all my news from
But
Grindr.
you use Google, you go on Reddit, everything's tracking you. You
Yeah,
know that.
but that's
and you're cool
tracking
with it.
cookies and everything on the internet have been a thing for decades.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, this isn't anything new.
I'm
So
just saying. I'm saying every American's okay with giving up rights and privacy and freedoms, right?
I mean,
We're already controlled.
I would say that they may not be okay with it, but they may not exactly have much of a say in it either.
Sure, they do. Get off fucking
Or knowledge of the extent of how tracked we are.
Yeah.
right, but they have an idea and they're okay with it, and they just go, "That's part of
They have an
daily living."
They have an idea if they've taken the time to explore the news cycles
right.
constantly.
We see it's a lot more
basically.
prevalent now. We see it more and more. Like how recent have you seen? You start talking about cat food, and you see ads for cat food on Facebook. That's something fairly recently. That's been so.
But that's just because
blatant.
I know. But that's not because they're tracking you. That's because they know you. That's
Yeah.
because they have all these data points on you.
Exactly.
They're predicting.
They're listening.
They're
you
not
know?
listening. They're predicting you. That's
Well,
how
hang
good
on
it
a
is.
second.
That's how good it
If
is.
you're one of those people that thinks your phone is constantly listening to the things you say, then you're not watching or consciously observing your normal actions throughout the day, because they don't need to record you
They're
when the
predicting.
phone's in your pocket. All they need to do is look at your searches, look up keywords, look at what websites you're going to, and using an algorithm, they can say,
But they are.
I mean, it may seem like they're listening or it may seem like magic, but it's not. It's just a predictive model that predicts your needs before you consciously recognize that you need them.
By tracking everything, your
What about-
location, what you're
Yeah,
doing,
when
all
you're
of this
when
stuff.
every store
It's
you walk
ridiculous.
into, your location is tracked.
They
and-
don't listen to you.
Yeah,
We've
it's-
tested
it's-
out though. You've seen all those videos where people talking to their phone about certain
Yeah, I know, but they're not. They're,
they're not-
they're just
typed
predicting you. It's just
freaking
freaky.
kibbles
It's good
into their
AI.
Google.
Whoever has the best AI, the algorithm, whoever has the best AI to predict what you're going to do, I'll take that out.
Well, I think we're
They're the winners.
wrapping it up anyways, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
we're really close to 2 hours.
But okay, but if we're okay with them taking our privacy away, because what is privacy? That's the ability to think and do what you want, right?
No,
Well, no, that's not privacy.
that's not privacy. No.
Yes, it
To
is.
do what you
To
want?
think what you want.
No, that's just a normal human right. That has nothing to do with privacy.
It has everything to do with privacy.
Well-
so if they know what's going on in your head, then they can manipulate what's going on in your head.
But that's
You should-
only if you participate in the system to the extent
But
that
we
most
are.
of the
we
world
just went through.
does.
We just went through that. We are participating, and we're
But
willing to give it away
But
because
if you're
it's
willing,
not that big of a deal.
But if you're willing to search, there are methods that can. There are proxy.
Are you doing
Program.
that? Are you doing that? Are you
No,
hiding
because
anything?
I don't give that much of a
I know.
fuck about it.
So you're willing to give your
But
privacy away.
But what I'm saying is that anybody who wants to can go out there and utilize tools that companies have put forth to kind of get around all this
So-
stuff we're talking about.
So real quick, let's go to privacy. Privacy is the ability to have an independent thought in your head, right?
No.
No.
It's the ability to have a thought that no one can hold against you, to punish you for. But no.
Yeah, we just said the same fucking thing.
No, we didn't.
Basically,
Say yours again.
an independent thought in your head.
But that is not privacy. To have an independent thought in your head.
Right. But
No.
basically, we're saying the same thing.
Just
I'm just saying it
having-
in a different way.
And not in my opinion, though. Because an independent thought means to have a thought that originates from oneself, right?
Well, we're pre-programmed. But nobody should be able to get inside your head. And if they know what you're thinking, then they can manipulate what you're thinking. And then all of a sudden you have no independent thinking.
There's
Like-
no
like,
way our
let's-
devices aren't listening to us.
They're not listening to us, man.
There's no way.
They're not listening to us. They're
It's
they're
the most-
predicting your actions. That's the fucking freaky thing. They're predicting your
They can.
actions. That's
It's
how
it's
good it
a-
is.
You say Alexa and it automatically just chimes in. It's got to be listening for that cue. It's like
so,
a Russian sleeper agent.
So Alexa does listen to everything that you do, and it goes to a database. But your phones, no.
Yeah.
We're not important enough for every. It's not like they're gonna. They've got to be listening for buzzwords.
No.
It's because data
Alexa
is the most.
and those kinds of virtual assistants, yes. Those are most certainly
Your phone is not
listening to your shit. But I highly doubt, I mean, unless you have Alexa or the Google whatever equivalent turned on, no, it's not.
Bixby.
But yeah, if you put the software on your phone that is Google Assistant, yeah, sure, it's listening for you to figure out when you're going to say, hey, Google, or whatever the fuck it is
So-
these days.
And
But that's-
anytime you have to use a microphone, you have to opt into the
so
voice.
everything that you see on Facebook, they're just predicting your actions. They're
Well-
predicting what you want.
It's not like
You're a consumer. That's all they give a fuck about.
I know it's based on what you Google, crap like that. You're gonna start seeing ads for, but
In America, here's what your job is. Your job is to go to work and buy stuff. That's what they want from you.
and pay your taxes.
They want you.
data is more valuable than
They want you. No, I know you're a consumer. You go to work and then you buy stuff. That's all. That's all you are to them. You're of no value other than that. In
we're a
America.
product.
Yeah, unless you're keeping the economy going by having children and spending money. I mean, look at how they treat homeless people. They don't contribute to society in any real meaningful way, and they don't give a fuck about them. I mean,
They want you to be.
it's
a consumer,
sad, but
yeah.
it's how it is. Right?
Well, they're all drug addicted.
No,
They
well,
don't wanna-
that's generalization, and that's not necessarily
Well,
true.
it's-
I mean, look at most people who have jobs. You could probably say that most people who have jobs
Here
are
in-
drug addicted as well, because they have the money to afford to buy
Oh,
those
God.
drugs.
I know. I know.
You say every 3 in 100 people are
Stop! You're killing me today.
using meth.
You're fucking killing me. Yeah, Oxy's a little different when you're living in a fucking tent and you have no job. But yeah, they just want you to be a consumer. They want you to go to work, shut the fuck up, and buy stuff. Keep the system going. It's America. You have no value.
We have value to corporations,
What does America lead in now?
school shootings.
Infant mortality.
I don't think we lead in that. I think we're high It's probably still
Yeah.
like Zimbabwe or somewhere
Let's find out.
where they're shitting them in sand.
What is it? We have the number one Air Force in the U.S. The second largest Air Force is the Navy.
I know, but the military, we can't even say that because we spend the most on the military of anybody in the world. We're not the biggest. We're just the fucking
Terrorist
most
acts.
expensive. Ooh, or do we lead in terrorist acts? That would be interesting, right? Kill another dude in a different country for no fucking reason. He's just sitting around smoking his hookah, just fucking thinking about, you know, what he's going to get on Facebook. Wow, I don't understand why I have cat food ads here. Fucking, it's an algorithm. No, they're listening to me. Shut down the Wi-Fi, quick! Shut down the Wi-Fi. They are listening to you, motherfucker.
You're getting canceled for that, Dwayne.
Oh God, it's just
It's
true.
gonna be an outroar.
Poor fucker. What do we lead in? What's
Basically, just defense spending.
okay?
And
Where's infant mortality? We're like what? We got to be like
apparently we've fallen quite far on
Yeah.
that list from where we were even just
who's number
10, 20
one?
years ago. I think it was Sierra Leone.
They have the most that die, or they're the least that die.
Angola,
Angola.
then Sierra Leone,
Those are the worst places to be born.
then Afghanistan, Liberia, Niger. Then it basically just lists every single African country.
Who's the best? Who has the best healthcare system there?
American Samoa
Really?
with the lowest rate of infant mortality,
Number two,
followed closely, very closely by Russia.
Russia. So they have a good healthcare system over there.
Or maybe they just don't record the infants that get killed off. Therefore, there's no infant mortality.
I would have thought it would have been like Finland, Sweden, Norway, something like that. Everything about those countries is the best. It is. They're just number one in everything, every category. Mathematics. It's got to be like
That's in Japan.
something that's interesting. So that I found out. So I don't know if I said this on here. So like TikTok, when the Chinese had it, their algorithm would favor somebody building something or doing engineering or mathematics on it. So those people would get pushed towards the top, right?
Mhm.
So if you went on TikTok and you were live streaming how to do math, the algorithm would take you and push you to the top. Microsoft bought it.
Not boobs, right?
If you show your titties or do something
No,
stupid, you
no,
get
it's
pushed to the top.
Chicks in hot tubs.
Yeah, that's our society
It's
there.
the millions watching their lives.
Do something stupid.
That's been the case since the 80s. I don't understand why you're acting like this is some sort of
well,
weird modern revelation.
No, I think there was a concerted effort to dumb you down because I just
Oh my God.
I just need you to be a worker.
Americans, by and large, are uneducated morons. There are exceptions, huge exceptions, but overall,
You
the
need-
American populace
you needed to,
level
like,
of education has
Pop a downer
dropped.
today
has
is what you
dropped
needed to
over
do
the
before
years.
you came to this. This is the problem with you getting up every day at 5 o'clock. Like you're all charged up by
5 o'clock.
whatever time you get up in the
I
morning.
woke up at 8:30 today.
I know. Well, that's sleeping in, so you're like all charged up.
I got out of bed at 9:30.
Well, and I just finished a 24-ounce triple
fucking-
shot ice mocha.
And all the Adderall he's on.
Yeah, it's,
I'm just saying, where are we at on education? We got to be down there on education too. We have the shittiest educational system.
Oh,
It hasn't changed since the 40s or 50s.
No, it has though. It has. We've taken stuff away.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever see civics classes offered in school anymore? Fuck no. Because they don't want you to know how the government works. Because if you know how the government works, you have the ability to affect change within the government.
Did you have civics class? No.
It wasn't even fucking offered at the school I went to.
Huh.
I took economics. Like where that
It's
got me.
not in the interests of the people in power for the general populace to do more than vote based on emotion.
And go to the factory.
Yeah.
And here's Amazon on your phone. All right, let's wrap it up. Taylor's getting all excited. I don't know. It was an okay podcast. A lot of arguing. Andrew, you were quiet again.
I don't like when my parents fight.
You gotta put your fucking microphone by your face.